Welcome to this new landing challenge. In this landing challenge we're gonna land with the Airbus A320 on Vaasa airport, which is a small international airport which serves the Finnish city of Vaasa. So kind of cool, right? So you can see already some people have tried it with really high scores, and we're gonna arrive at runway 34. Runway length is a little bit more than 8,000 feet. So let's look at the details. So we're gonna fly 170 knots, then the turn is 160, and then eventually 150, and then we're gonna land on runway. This is, I would say, in the hardest category, right? In the strong wind category, if I'm correct. And that's the hardest category there is for landing challenges. So let's see how successful we can land using the A320. As you can see, wind is 25 knots, 3 degrees. So let's see how successful we can land on this airport. For those who don't know, right, this landing challenge has been added as part of World Update number 5, which was focusing on the Nordics. Here's a runway 34. You saw the blue marker there. It's early in the morning, and here's the aircraft. So let's go inside and let's give it a try. So already at 160 knots, as you can see. If we go outside, then we can better see where we are. See the A320 here. We're slowly decreasing the altitude. It's always important. And if you don't know where you are, right, you can always use the screens here. If the options are on, right, make sure that the correct options are on. So make sure that the airport is switched on so you can see it. Another option, of course, is to use the VFR map, which you can open by using the V from Victor, and then we can scroll a little bit. I'll zoom out, and here you can see the airport. So we need to make a turn to the right. So let's do that. If you want, you can always zoom in or out, right? You can change the view if you like to see it from a little bit closer, not to focus on the instruments, then you can look from this side. Or if you want to keep an eye on the instruments, then you can zoom out a bit. So there's the runway, as you can see. So we need to decrease our altitude because we're a little bit high. As you can see, we're at 2,000 feet. So we're gonna drop the flaps a little bit more, also decrease the speed a little bit more. Gears are already down, right? You can see it on this angle, they're already on green. The outer brake has been set to medium, which should be enough normally. For shorter runways you can set it to high, although that's only recommended if it's a really short runway and of course during the takeoff, because if your takeoff goes wrong, then you can use the outer brake functionality to make sure that you're decreasing enough. Or it's you can see it more discussed like it's an emergency brake, right? So keep an eye on the speed. So we're at 160. Ideal speed was 150, if I read it correctly. So we're a little bit below the glide scope. Now we're too much below the glide scope. You can see all 4 the poppy lights are burning. So we need to, say, push the stick a little bit back and make a correction there. Now 1 light less is burning, as you can see. So now we're at the glide path again because 2 lights are burning, which is the idle glide path. So we're gonna decrease the speed again, drop flaps a little bit more. And then we're gonna try to land on this airport. A little bit too much to the left side, if you ask me. So we're gonna make a small correction there. Now we're too high again, right? So you need to keep an eye on the poppy lights because they will guide you to the correct light path. We see that you need to make a lot of corrections here. Now it's also stuttering, which also doesn't help. So let us see. We decrease the speed too much. Not the idle landing, as you could see, we're too much to the right side, which is, I'd say, kind of something which I'm used to because that's always or one of the issues. Also, the speed was not enough, so the speed was too low. As you can see, the outer brake kicks in, and we have a score now of almost 270,000 points. So let's give it another try to see if we can increase the score a bit. You can see ground roll was not perfect, also landing precision and the landing smoothness, there are some improvements. We're at spot 3000 something. So let's hit restart again and let's give it another try. The good thing about these challenges is that you can really practice your landing skills, right? You can really fly this unlimited times if you want. And will allow you to practice again the landing skills because they are kind of important, right? You can use the autopilot functionality and the ILS, but this is really, I would say, a landing by hand, which is normally also done, if I understood correctly, in, I would say, by real pilots. So we're going to continue our flight a little bit further, right? And then we're going to turn to the right because the airport is there. In the meantime, we need to keep an eye on the altitude because you can see that we're decreasing altitude massively. So let's pull back the stick a bit. You can also cheat a bit, right? With this VFR map, you can see that we're close to the, let's say, star route. So we're gonna try to turn here already. Let's see if that's a little bit more successful than the last time. Again, try not to increase too much because if you keep an eye on the altimeter, which you can see on my screen, we're increasing as I would say altitude again. You can see here that we need to abort or turn a bit and fly a little bit more straight. So we started the turn a little bit too early, if you ask me. And also we need to keep an eye on the altitude because it's at 1400. See that we should have continued the turn a bit because we're now a little bit too far to the left again. So we're gonna center the airplane. So make sure that we're decreasing the altitude because you can see that there are no poppy lights burning. Decrease the throttle a bit. 1000. Drop flaps a bit more. And also decrease the, let's say, angle of attack. Need to always be a bit careful, right? Because you can see that there's some trees here. We could have decreased the altitude a little bit more, as you can see, because the poppy lights are not burning, and as long as the poppy lights are not burning, it means that you're, I would say, at least if 2 of them are burning, you're perfect. If 1 of them is burning, sorry, you're, I would say, a little bit above. As long as lights 3 and 4 don't burn, then it should be enough, or should be okay.
60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard 5.
A little bit too fast, as you can see, we're making another bump. So this was definitely not better than the first time. Although the center line we were pretty close to it, so we need to give it another try. This was definitely not a good one, guys. Crashing into the lights. So let's forget this one. Let's hit restart once. And let's see if we can do it this time better. Last try, else I will probably need to practice a little bit more and become, so I could say, kind of more normal, because right, I'm just clicking this, I would say landing for the first time. Some did not practice being before, just showing you, okay, hey, this is how you can approach it if you want. So I'm using the default A320, right? It's not the A320NX, because that's a different one. So we continue the continue a flight. Gonna pull back the stick a bit, so don't want to decrease too much, and also increase the speed a bit, because you can see that the speed has dropped below the 160, and actually we want to be at that speed, I would say, in the corner while making the turn. And as you can see, we're not there yet. Of course, we also don't want to climb too much. Let's start making the turn here. There's the runway, as you can see. Lights are already burning. That's good. Now the challenge is that we're not going too far to the right. Keep the correct speed. And try to see if we can match the poppy lights. You can see that one light is now burning. A few minutes back, or a few seconds back, 2 lights were burning. So we need to make sure that we're decreasing a little bit faster, but not too fast, of course. Now 2 lights are burning, so that's good. That's what we want, right? Because then we're on the perfect light scope. Now we're a little bit above it again. So speed is a little bit too fast. So now it's just 2 lights again. Zero lights.
500.
2 lights.
300.
And now you can see why it's hard, right? Because it looks like there's a strong wind which blows the aircraft a little bit to the right. So I would say reducing throttle to I would say 0 doesn't make any sense because that doesn't work.
100.
Now we're too early, and now we're
Retard.
we didn't touch the ground yet, so might be our savior.
5.
It's not good. See, at the end it pushed us to the right due to the wind, it looks like. And then we ended up in, I would say, nightmare. So just gonna give it one more try. Because this one will probably, no, see, it's lower than the first time, so let's do it another time, and then let's try to keep our fingers crossed that we, I would say, do everything good which we did wrong this time and the previous tries. Will be a challenge right there, I would say, in that special section strong wind for a reason, because they're, I would say, hard. But again, it should be doable. Let's make sure that we're keeping the correct speed and also the correct altitude. You can see there's another aircraft in front of us right now. And that sometimes makes it a little bit easier, because you can follow it. It's not always easier, because if you're too, I would say, too close to it, then poppy lights are, I would say, can't be really used, because they're, as far as I found out, they're only focusing on one aircraft and not on the other one, which makes sense, right? Try to make the turn now. The runway is over there, as you can see. Try to prevent it from decreasing too fast. And also trying to prevent it from losing altitude too fast. So let's see if that works. Too far to the right, as you can see. Need to increase throttle a bit so we can recover, hopefully. Trying it a little bit from a different angle, as you can see.
400. 300. 200.
A little bit too low.
100. 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
from, I would say, touch point where we were a little bit too early on touching it. Maybe from center point, and maybe also the touch, say the slow touch might have improved, but there's still a lot of improvement, I can already tell you without seeing the score. You can see 345,000. I think that was is a better score as we had the first time. I'm correct, but there's still some room for improvement. Yeah, see, we increased a bit on scoring, especially this part was okay. Landing position wasn't that good. If that would have been good, then it would be, let's say, a pretty good score. So more practice required, but no problem. This is where this video ends. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then feel free to place them in the comment box below the video. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.